We have to be very grateful to YouTube because there's so many things that we can watch for free, and there's so many things we can learn from there. One of the things that I'm grateful about YouTube is the documentary series called A Football Life. When I watch these documentaries, these sports documentaries, it reminds me why I love sports so much. Even though modern sports tend to be so whack, um so much politics involved and things of that nature. But when you start watching classic documentaries or documentaries about former players, former teams, and things of that nature, it just reminds you why you love sports so much and why you fell in love with it in the first place. So in this one, I'm gonna talk about Terrell Davis, um, Broncos legend, Hall of Famer. I'm glad he's a Hall of Famer. Um, and this is one of my favorite episodes of A Football Life. This is a guy that he never had it easy. He had to climb his way to the top. He had to fight his way to the top. And his story is just amazing. We're talking about a guy who's the youngest of six boys. He grew up with a strict father who wanted his boys to be tough. He didn't want them to be soft. And Terrell Davis' father knew that he did all of that because they don't want his kids to end up like him. Um, Terrell Davis, he grew up in a tough environment. He grew up in San Diego, and at one point he said that his dad like shot his kids, but it wasn't not directly towards them. He was not trying to hurt them. It was more to like near them. They shot them, but like Terrell Davis said, that he just had his own way of doing things to try to get you motivated, try to get your attention. So if that's a crazy, that's a crazy formula or tactic that he had. But that was Terrell Davis' father. Unfortunately, after he lost his dad at the age of 15, Terrell Davis, his death threw him off track. He started to get into trouble. He started losing his passion for sports to the point where Terrell Davis almost it almost cost his life. So that's when he started focusing back in football and things like that. And one of the things that Terrell Davis that he suffered through his playing career, and it happened ever since he was a kid, was the migraine headaches. Migraine headaches was a big part of Terrell Davis's life, but he never let adversity get the best of him. We all go through adversity, and Terrell Davis, he went through a lot of adversity, but he just kept pushing forward. He kept working. He kept staying motivated. Football was a safe haven. Um, he when he transferred to when he got recruited to the University of Georgia, and you know when you go to the University of Georgia, there's a lot of high expectations when you get there. And his time in his time as a Bulldog didn't go as planned as he thought it would be. He came into the program um, expecting to get more touches, and he wasn't getting enough touches compared to his previous stops in high school and even um, the school before he got to University of Georgia. He dealt with a head coach that was constantly yelling, was constantly throwing temper tantrums. And before Davis got there, Garrison Hurst was the man. So people expected a lot from him. But that head coach they had in University of Georgia did everything did everything that a player shouldn't have to go through. So he would he thought that Terrell Davis wasn't tough. He thought that Terrell Davis he like I said, Terrell Davis, he grew up in a tough environment. So he wasn't afraid of anything or anyone. And at one point, Terrell Davis um told them like, don't put your hands on me. And they almost came to blows because he was one of those coaches that was like in your face. He grabbed them by the helmet. He chewed him out in front of so many people. Um, when he dealt with migraine headaches or a hamstring injury, the coach thought that he didn't want to play. He didn't want to be on the field. So it things got so bad that at one point, when he was hurt, when he wasn't healthy, instead of being on the sideline supporting his team, he ended up sitting on the bleachers. What head coach would do that to the player? Like Terrell Davis said, that was, I've never heard something like that before. Never. So that was that. And then when it came to the draft, um, when the Broncos wanted to find out more about Terrell Davis, the Bulldogs head coach basically tried to character assassinate him, but that didn't stop the Broncos offensive coordinator um, and everyone else in that offense, in that Broncos offense at the time, to find out more about Terrell Davis. And the more they found out about him, the more good comments they got in return. That he's a great kid, you don't have to worry about him. He works hard, he plays hard, and he was the sixth round pick. And that's a very low level pick in the NFL. He came into that 95, I believe that 95 season, preseason. And, I believe it was week 3 in Japan. Terrell Davis, he wasn't expecting anything. He's like, you know what? He might not even play. He's a 6th round guy. And at the time the Broncos were trying to figure out who was gonna be their starting running back. And a backup quarterback said that the Broncos, they're missing a stallion in their backfield. So in that preseason game in Japan, Terrell Davis, thinking that he's not gonna get a playing time or anything, he started eating hot dogs. And next thing you know, the coaches told him, you're gonna go in. He's like, damn, like, it's that you finish eating hot dogs, you finish eating a meal, and then they call you that. That's why it doesn't matter what position you're in, you always got to be ready when your name will be called up. And he made his impact immediately when he made that vicious tackle on defense. And that was the start of catching the Broncos' attention, the coach's attention, saying, this guy's tough. And they found their stallion. So, say what you want about Mike Shanahan, but he believed in Terrell Davis from the beginning. Gary Kubiak believed in him from the beginning, but no one believed more than Mike Shanahan, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but based on from what I saw, he took a chance on him. So, Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos, they were a very good team before Terrell Davis got there. But Mike Shanahan knew that when he came in to that organization, that he needed to place a system to help out John Elway. And Terrell Davis was the biggest answer to that. In their first, in Terrell Davis, I believe, first postseason, in his first year in the postseason, which was in '96 postseason, the Broncos, they had a 13-3 record and they lost in the divisional round game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they were devastated. And Mike Shanahan felt that, you know what, going forward, I'm going to have Terrell Davis carry the ball at least 20 to 25 times. Because in the game against the Jaguars, he carried the ball only like 12, 13 times, something like that. So they made Terrell Davis the bigger option on offense to have success, and it worked out. Because of that, in the '97 postseason, they got revenge on the Jaguars, beating them in the wild card. They beat the Chiefs in the divisional round, and then they beat the Steelers in the championship game to go to the Super Bowl. And then in that '97 Super Bowl, Elway, before that, he was on 3. He got blown out by the Giants, Red Wings, and 49ers. And the Broncos, they were underdogs in this game against the Packers, who were the defending champs. They had a great defense, great offense, and they were 14-point favorites. So people thought, Elway might lose again. But the difference between those 3 Super Bowls and this one, Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis was on a mission going into that Super Bowl. And then, bam, that second quarter came, migraine headaches. He went to the tunnel, and the Packers defense were going like this. He's not tough anymore. That's it, it's over. Yeah, right. He came out of that tunnel after halftime. His vision cleared up. He started seeing things better, and he got the job done. Broncos finally won a Super Bowl. Terrell Davis went from the 6th round draft pick, unknown, to Super Bowl MVP. And now everyone wants to get to know Terrell Davis. Everyone. That next season, Broncos won what, 14-2? Terrell Davis, he rushed for 2,000 yards. But what I love about that was his teammates. Whether Terrell Davis wanted that record or not, whether he cared about it or not, his teammates, that was not going to stop his teammates from helping him get there. They didn't care what Terrell Davis was going to say. They were going to help him out. And they certainly did. They certainly did. So you have Super Bowl MVP and now regular season MVP. And that same year, they went back to back. They defeated the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl, which marked John Elway's final hurrah, going out as a champion, 2-time champion. And wow, it was just magnificent for Terrell Davis and the Broncos. And then after that, it came the sad part. He got his knee injury, changed everything. And it forced him to retire early. He just wasn't the same. But I'm glad that he got into the Hall of Fame, like I said, because what he did in that short period of time, in that run with the Broncos, it was worthy, super worthy of getting in. Having an unforgettable season, winning Super Bowls, winning Super Bowl MVP. Shannon Sharpe said it best. Broncos don't win those Super Bowls without Terrell Davis. We love and respect John Elway, but Terrell Davis was the one that you needed to get over that hump. I wish I could have seen Terrell Davis play when he was healthy, because when I started watching football, I came a little 1 year late. I got to see him in uniform and things like that, but not the great Terrell Davis. So I do remember seeing the commercial with the soup, the chunky soup. I remember that. That was one of my favorite memories growing up. watching Terrell Davis. But this documentary was amazing. Oh yes, I can't forget when he won the Super Bowl against the Packers, which he was named Super Bowl MVP. The event happened in San Diego, where he grew up. So funny how things connect. But I'm very happy for Terrell Davis. I'm glad he's a Hall of Famer. It was a long time coming, and this is a great documentary of football life with Terrell Davis. Thank you for watching this video. Hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And as always, be safe, and may God bless you all.